My name is Nichole, and I am a licensed massage therapist. This is Adrianne. Adrianne, if you want to say hello.
Hi, I'm Adrianne, and I'm a licensed acupuncturist here in San Antonio.
Awesome. And we're part of something called the San Antonio Family Support Collective. And we are just a group of health and wellness professionals that are trying to provide you with some support, some tools as we kind of work our way through this COVID-19 pandemic and just this kind of season of stress. So this particular workshop is going to be teaching you a little bit how to massage your children, as well as Adrianne's going to provide us some tapping techniques, which is going to help with any anxiety. So if you want to go ahead and start speaking, Adrianne, you can talk to us a little bit about what you're going to show us.
For sure. So we know, generally speaking, I don't know about all parents, but I know me as a parent, I have a 7-year-old daughter, and especially like the first 2 weeks of this transition in this COVID homeschooling, I like to call it crisis schooling, pandemic schooling. She had a hard time transitioning. So she definitely increased her amount of tantrums by, I don't know, 200% in that time. So what I did is, and that what we've done for probably a couple of years now, is we have incorporated tapping for whenever she has tantrums or she starts feeling anxious. So, you know, during tantrums and kids, they act out. It's just a way of that they're communicating to you about something that's not being met, a need that's not being met. So this is just a new resource to help you and your child calm their nervous system in order for you to help satisfy your child's needs. So this is just something in addition to what Nichole's going to be showing us of what could be really helpful. So all you have to do is what you're going to do is your child will mirror you, and you're going to put your arms out crossed like this. And I recommend this in particular for 4 years and older. I think some like 3.5, 3-year-olds can do it, but it's better for 4 and up. Okay, so I usually say pick a song together, and like me and my daughter, we do the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and you don't sing it, you hum it. So I'll just start. So it's and so you go down and you go up. And I'm going to do it again just so you can kind of know. So I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going up all the way to my shoulder joints, and then I'm going down to my elbows. Up and down. Up and down. So I'll do it again. And I'll kind of bend forward a little bit so you can kind of see. Yeah, so that's basically, good job. So that's basically it. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be the Itsy Bitsy Spider. Okay? It can be row, row, row your boat. It could be twinkle, twinkle. So like for my family, my husband, he does a totally different song. He tried to do the Itsy Bitsy Spider, but it did not work. So he, I don't know, he's not an Itsy Bitsy Spider kind of guy. I don't know. So he ended up doing some like song that they sing, and it's like seriously like some like funk 70s song that they just like love together, and it works for them. If I did it, it would not work for me and my daughter. So just do whatever works. It could be like a Moana song. It could be whatever it is, but something very simple that you are both familiar with and that you can hum together, and just do this really simple thing of just getting your child back into their body is basically what we're trying to do, and to kind of ground them. So that's my short demo. I hope that was short and to the point. I'll turn it over to Nichole.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. So like she mentioned, that might not be something that you can do with a younger child. Generally, this particular workshop is geared for ages 3 and up. So I'm going to try to demo my portion, which is the massage on my son, but he's 18 months old. So I do tend to give him massage at the end of the night when I'm putting on lotion after his bath. So we'll try it with him. If not, I've got a stuffed animal on here that I can show you as well. So just bear with me. So come here, kiddo. Let's see. So what you want to do, well, first of all, if at any point your child is not having it and they don't want to be worked on or touched or what have you, then that's okay. And we're going to talk more, if you hang on after this interactive portion, we'll talk more about things like consent and benefits of this therapeutic touch. But you want to be in an area that's going to be comfortable. So like a bed or a couch. You can start by having them either laying down, maybe when they're taking a nap, or when you're just hanging out on the couch. So see, like right now, he's not really having it, so that's fine. So I'll start on my ET here, my little person here. Okay, so this is about the size of a child. So we're gonna start with the head, and generally we want to put some slight compression just at the scalp, kind of introducing that touch just on the sides of the head. Not very much pressure, just very gentle, and you can work all around the scalp here. And then once you've introduced that touch, then we're going to use just the pads of our fingers, and we're going to create circular motions on the scalp, okay? You want it to be firm, not too much pressure, but firm enough that it's not going to tickle them. Hi, you want to give it a try? You want me to massage your head? Let's see. Let's see if he'll let me do it. Okay, so again, we've applied our compression, and then we begin to use the circular motions on the scalp. It's very nice, very gentle here. Maybe you can put on some relaxing music if that's available to you. And once we've done that, we're going to work down to the face. Now to do the face, we're going to basically trace the outline or the edge of their face. So I'm going to go back to my little guy here. We're just going to use our index finger, starting from the forehead. We're going to trace all the way down to the jaw or to the chin, and you can work your way back up, coming back up from the chin to the forehead, and then we do that again, coming back down, all the way down to the forehead or to the chin. And then from here, we can take, again, soft pads of our fingers, and we're going to just glide up the jaw. Okay, we want to make sure that we're working that jaw area, because this is a muscle that gets really tight because of all the talking and the chewing from eating. We just want to be very gentle, applying that nice pressure. And then you can take your index and your middle finger, and just apply some circular motion pressure into the joint of that jaw, if that feels good for your child. Maybe even ask them, do you like this? Do you not like it? Asking those direct questions and getting that feedback is very important. Once you've worked the jaw, let's go ahead and just apply compression right at the joint. Just a little bit of compression, again, nothing too deep. And then you can also apply it right underneath that sinus cavity, right underneath the cheekbones, just applying that pressure. You can work your way maybe from the nose all the way to the outside of the cheekbones. And then we can do that again at the temples. Okay, just applying pressure. And if you want, you can do the circular motion at the temples as well. So once you do that, then we'll work the back. So you can have your child either lay face down across your lap. If they're small enough, you can also hold them. So I'm going to do that with ET. I'm going to hold him. But we're just going to use a flat palm with firm pressure, starting from the top of the back. We're just going to create circular motions here, working our way down, all the way down to the top of the pelvis. and then working our way back up to the shoulders. From here, you can use your fingertips on the muscle tissue that's just to the right or the left of the spine, okay? And you're just gonna, again, apply pressure, not a lot, okay? These are little people, they don't need very much. We're just gonna apply slight pressure down the spine, or down the side of the spine rather. And then once you get down to the hips, we go to the opposite side as we work our way back up. Just applying slight pressure, coming all the way back up, okay? Now you can do that again, and if you want to, again, incorporate those circular motions with the pads of your fingertips, that's perfectly fine. You're changing that up. Again, maybe asking your child, do you like how that feels? Do you want more pressure? Do you want less pressure? Do you want me to move faster or slower? Get that feedback and see what they say. We want to give them the opportunity to tell you what they like and what they don't like. From here, we're going to end with just some, it's called effleurage, but basically we'll take the flats of our palms, hands again, and we're going to, with gentle pressure, just go down the back, from the shoulders all the way down to the pelvis. Just a few times here, just kind of finishing up that work there, okay? From here, we're going to work, and I'll get a little bit closer, but we're going to work the hands. So with this, your child can be sitting across from you, or maybe they're in your lap, or maybe you're holding them. And we're gonna use our thumbs just on the inside of their palms, and we're just going to kind of feel in between the bones, the finger bones, so all that muscle tissue in between those finger bones. We'll use our thumbs to just gently work through that tissue. Very gentle here, a few strokes. And then when you're ready, we can do a little bit of finger pulls. So with this, we're gonna use our index finger and our thumb, and we're gonna hold, I don't know if you can see that, hold our thumb just from the base, and then work our way, kind of give our fingers little hugs all the way down to the tips of the finger, okay? So you can do the thumb, you can do the index finger, just mild to moderate pressure, the middle finger, you got your ring finger, and then the pinky. Good. And then we move to our other hand. So again, working in between the bones of the finger, just with gentle pressure, using our thumbs. And again, if they're not, into it, that's okay. You can maybe move back to the back or do something else that might feel good for them. And then when you're ready, we go down to the fingers. So again, you can start at the thumb or the pinkies, just doing those gentle finger pulls on one finger, the second finger, the third finger, the fourth finger, and then that fifth finger. Good. From here, we're going to go ahead and work with the feet. So with the feet, you want to start by having them have their feet in your lap, or you could be at the base of the feet, but we're going to take both hands and we're just going to introduce that touch, especially since the feet are such a sensitive or ticklish spot. We want to make sure we're using good pressure here, but we're going to take both hands and just compress each foot with both hands. So working one foot first, just like that. And then we get into the arch of the foot using just the pads of our thumbs, very gentle, and just apply a little bit of thumb pressure, working from the bottom of the arch and then working all the way up to the top of the arch. And then you can work your way back down and then work your way back up. Okay, again, making sure you're checking in with your child, seeing if that feels good or seeing if it doesn't. From there, just like with the finger pulls, we can do little toe pulls. So we're using our index and our thumb finger, starting at the base of the toe, working our way out to the very tip or the very edge of it. Just doing slight pressure for each little toe. Nice. And then we work the opposite foot. So again, using our thumb in the arch, just gentle, we're compressing with both hands, introducing them to that touch. And then we use our thumb in the arch of the foot, starting at the bottom, and then working our way up. And then working your way back down. And then working your way back up. Nice, good job. And then you can do your little toe pulls. So starting at the base of the toe and working your way out to the very tip for all 5 toes. Nice. Awesome. And there you can give your little one a hug, thanking them for enjoying that with us. I know he wasn't really into it, but that's okay. That's okay if kids don't want to do it. So that's what we have for you as far as the interactive portion goes, but we do want to share with you some other educational info. So please, if you can, I'm going to screen share my computer here. Just again, we are part of the San Antonio Family Support Collective, just a group of health and wellness professionals trying to provide you with some support and some resources during this time. A little bit more about me. My name is Nichole, and I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I own a massage practice, mostly mobile massage practice called Massage Mobile. And essentially, we provide massage to you at your home as well as at our office. Unfortunately, right now, can't provide any physical massage, but I do have some online offerings that you can take advantage of. And we really focus on like pain management as well as the perinatal period. So women who are pre and post partum. Adrianne, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Nichole. Yes, so I'm Adrianne ORTEGA, and I'm a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist. I specialize in women's health, fertility, pediatrics, and mental health. I'm the only fellow of ABORM, which is the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine. So I specialize in women's health, fertility, pediatrics, and mental health. So I treat women in all parts and all, whether it's prenatal, perinatal, or postnatal. So I do a lot of that, and also pediatrics. I think that's all I have for me.
So this is just some information that we're going to be going over with you. Again, if you can't stay for the whole thing, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was the benefits of touch, of therapeutic touch, whether that is the tapping or the massage. There are just so many different benefits out there in regards to this, but these are kind of my top 3, especially as parents, I think is important. So the first one being that health, well-being, and trust aspect. Touch is the very first sense that we develop as people, as humans. And babies have been known to fail to thrive, or unfortunately even die, when they don't have that adequate sense of contact or that physical contact. And children who have had that or grew up with that healthy sense of touch, they are more likely to become adults who have healthy self-esteems. They have a sense of appropriate boundaries, and they're also known to have lasting intimate relationships. All these things that we want for our children, right? In addition, when our child receives this therapeutic touch, they also we're reaffirming that sense of trust, and we're also conveying the sense of security in them, okay? We're reaffirming that close bond that we have with them. Again, things that we as parents want our children to feel when they're with us is, that they can trust us and they feel, safe with us. The second benefit here is that this therapeutic touch is just an immense stress buster for children. Stress is not just an adult condition. It's something that children can have in their lives as well. For example, a child might start a new school, and so they're in an unfamiliar location with unfamiliar people. That is something that can cause stress. Even the situation that we find ourselves in now with the social distancing and self-quarantining and all of these types of things, you're definitely, I'm sure, feeling this stress. Well, your child is going to pick up on that as well. Hence, they have stress too. So what happens with that is when a child is stressed, there is a release of a hormone called cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And so when that's elevated, that can cause some issues with the immune system. So when cortisol is elevated or chronically elevated, it actually kills off healthy immune cells. And healthy immune cells help to fight things like viruses. And viruses and tumors. And, when we have a virus such as COVID-19 running rampant, we want to make sure that we're setting our kids up for success. And so by providing this touch for them, it can help with that. The last thing I want to talk about is the behavioral response. So kind of like Adrianne was mentioning, sometimes children may go through this anxious period or a period where they may be acting out and things like that. Well, therapeutic touch has been proven to have a positive effect or impact on this behavioral response. So again, it goes back to that stress hormone or that cortisol. When those levels are lowered by using massage or tapping, kids are going to be more relaxed. They're going to be just generally in a better mood. And that's going to make your guys' life a whole lot easier, especially if you do have a child who may be suffering from a little bit of anxiety and maybe acting out. The other cool thing I wanted to add too is that if you happen to have a child or know somebody who has a child with things like ADHD or autism or even eating disorders, things like therapeutic touch is also known to have a positive impact on that. So I think that that's just something that's just so cool and an easy thing that we can incorporate into our daily routines. So the next thing that we want to talk about is consent. We talked very, very, very briefly, when we first started this, but consent is so important, especially when you start doing things like massage or tapping. When we talk about touch with our kids, it's important to talk about consent and help them feel comfortable in saying no, as well as communicating their needs in a healthy way. So one of the first things that people ask, and even I've asked when I first started working on my kid, was, well, when do I even talk about consent? How early can that happen? And it's interesting because you can talk or at least introduce the concept of it when they're at least 1 year old, and you can continue to have those lessons up until the college years. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to have like this sit down, in-depth conversation with your 1-year-old about the ins and outs of consent. That's not something that's going to happen. But you can start to introduce different practices or different opportunities for them to experience what that's like. So when they're old enough and you can have that conversation with them, you can do that however you choose to. But until then, you can do different things such as showing the importance of certain words. So like the word no and the word stop. And specifically when it comes to touch, in regards to touch, making sure they understand that it's going to be honored, not only with them, but everyone around them. So, making sure that people such as yourself or your partner, friends, family, that they're all honoring those words, no and stop, not only with your child, but with each other when they're around your child. That's one way to show how those words no and stop actually work. Excuse me. You can also start to practice games where you're recognizing certain behaviors, your body language, as well as facial expressions. Practice that so they understand when people are sad or hurt or when they don't like something. Different things like that can be an effective way to start to introduce this concept. And you want to make sure that they understand and know the difference between good touch and bad touch. Okay, now you have this conversation whenever you feel is appropriate and however you choose to. That's completely fine and up to you. But you definitely want to make sure that you're communicating with them too what body parts are okay to touch and what body parts are not okay to touch. Okay. So for example, good areas may be like the head, the face, the feet, the back, the neck, and any other areas that you deem okay. And then again, make sure they know what areas that's not okay to touch. So like the chest, the genitals, the thighs, the back, or any other areas that you deem inappropriate. Okay, make sure they truly understand what that is. And also, like, if somebody has to, for whatever reason, maybe they're a doctor or maybe, mom and dad has to help them with something, that it might be okay for them to touch that specific area. Again, you got to make sure that you're making those distinctions quite clear. And then just give them daily opportunities to practice this. You never want to force that touch, especially if since you've learned these techniques and these different tools that you're going to hopefully be using with your child. Make sure that they know that if they're not in the mood to do it, then that's okay. That's their choice. Now, if you do decide, and they do decide that they want to participate in massage or in tapping, you want to remember that communication is key. We kind of talked a little bit about this while we were doing the interactive portion. So really encourage your child to talk about what feels good, what doesn't feel good when you're working on them. And again, you can do this by asking them those direct questions like, does this feel good? Does this not feel good? Do you want more pressure, lighter pressure? Do you want me to go move faster or move slower? So sometimes kids, they don't want to say anything. So by asking them these direct questions, it kind of allows them to feel more comfortable in saying yes or no, or being more communicative with what they do or do not like. So just make sure too that they understand that they can change their mind at any time as well. If they, potentially don't like that, then that's okay. And they need to feel comfortable being able to come to you with that information. Lastly, on consent, I found a really great article on consent that gives you some different practices specific to kids' age ranges. So here's the link for that if you are interested in taking a peek at it. So that's what I have on consent. I know that was a lot.
All right, thank you, Nichole. So I'm going to continue and just briefly talk about communication. So whenever, we're talking about kids acting out and having tantrums, this is a way that they're communicating to us, their caregivers, their parents, that a need is not being met. Now, that need is probably really, really different, from my 7-year-old that's homeschooling versus Nichole's son. That's 1.5 years old. Maybe what Diego's telling Nichole by acting out, maybe yelling or something, he's just hungry. It's, or he, is really tired and just needs a nap, maybe something like that, versus my 7-year-old where she's just like, I'm maxed out, I'm schooled out, I don't want to do this, maybe we need to just like do something else. And so these acting out, of course, is going to look different depending on the ages. I will definitely say that. So these acting out, again, it's just a form of them communicating with us, parents, caregivers, that they need something that's not being met. So in having this new resource, whether it's tapping or therapeutic touch, massage, that will help you and your child calm their nervous system in order for you to be able to satisfy their needs. Once you calm down the nervous system, then you can be like, okay, so what did you need? And kind of be able to gather that information. So it's really hard when a child's in like full on tantrum, just like crying or yelling. And if we can just kind of get their nervous system to calm down, and, what happens in the brain is that their amygdala is really firing, and then their nervous system is on full alert. And that's not the most ideal time to communicate what they need. So as long as we do something to kind of, we can satisfy their need and get somewhere probably together. And I think in just simply, asking them for consent, communicating, and establishing these new routines, it's going to be these new patterns with the help of massage and tapping. It will help them create, new self-care practices in your own home that you begin establishing over time, whether they're 1 year old, 4 years old, or 6 years old. Once we start establishing these patterns, that's something I think that will follow them throughout their preteen years, their teen years, and through adulthood. So I think that's always really, really positive, for sure.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm going to go over this really briefly. I know that we already kind of tapped it out, but I'll go over this really, really briefly. So step 1, definitely choose a song that you and your child like. And like I said, our song is Itsy Bitsy Spider. My husband and my daughter's song, I don't even know the song, but they know it together and it works for them. So whether it's Itsy Bitsy Spider, some like pop song, Moana song, whatever it is, make sure that you establish that before you even start. So if it's something that you feel like, oh, I think my child can really incorporate this and help them calm down, their anxiety in the future, I would say just choose a song and just practice it, humming it and practice it together. And then, step 2, you cross your arms and you go up and down, up and down. Me, depending on my daughter's tantrum, there's times where we'll have to hum the song like 4 times. Probably like the first week of this pandemic, there was a couple of days where I was like, wow, I don't know how many times we've hummed this song, but I feel like it's kind of magical, because it's like, oh, there's my kid after humming it like 3 or 4 times. And sometimes, she's mirroring me and we do it like once or twice and she's back in her body, her amygdala is not firing, her nervous system is better. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was once or twice, great. And then sometimes we just have to keep on going. And so you'll just, like I said, like if you're on step 3 and 4, you're just going to repeat it. And the more you do it, the more you'll figure out a gauge on how many times your child needs to tap it out. And now my daughter, like when I ask her if she's having a hard time, I'll ask her, what do you need? And she'll tell me, I need the itsy bitsy spider. Or we do it in Spanish, and she'll be like, oh, necesito la araña pequeñita. And we'll do it. Like she actually asked for it. It's kind of amazing that she's incorporated that self-care. It took a while. It took a long time. We weren't there automatically, but it came eventually. So make sure you practice in times where nervous systems aren't heightened. And, when your child's not tantruming or acting out. And, the more you practice, the more they're familiar with it. That'll be definitely very key to being able to, when you actually need this tool, this resource, this tapping practice, it'll be really helpful.
That's great information. And seeing. So can you mute yourself real quick, because I think we have a little bit of feedback. So here's the massage routine that we did. In case you need to refer back to it, we're gonna have this whole packet in a Google document that you can download. We'll put it on the Facebook. That way you can always refer back to this if you need to. So in this particular one, I'm just describing how you're going to massage different parts of the body. And like Adrianne mentioned, you wanna make sure that you're not doing it when your child is, feeling a little bit of anxiety or stress, or how Diego was a little bit upset. So do that in a place and a time that things are going to be calm, a little bit more relaxed, and that they can enjoy it, that you both can enjoy it. Okay. So that's pretty much what we have for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Here's our information if you'd like to connect with us. So here's my website. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any questions specific to massage, or maybe even massaging your child, feel free to reach out to me on my email. And here's Adrianne's.
Yes. So, I have a practice here. It's Alma Acupuncture here in San Antonio. And so my website's there, my Facebook and my Instagram handle. Feel free to email me. I respond to Instagram messages pretty quick. So whatever feels good and whatever makes sense, I'm happy here to help and to be another resource for you as a parent and caregiver. Thank you.
Awesome. And then here's our San Antonio Family Support Collective information. If you want to follow us on Facebook, or you want to collectively send us an email, maybe you have a question, or something that you'd like to have more information on, maybe we'll create a workshop for that too. So feel free to check us out. Do we have any questions from anybody still on? If you do, feel free to type it in the chat box. We can answer it here. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you found value in it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.